Have you ever been lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying a conversation from 3 years ago, wondering if what you said came out wrong? Most people would have forgotten that moment the next day, but you didn't. And if that sounds familiar, this video is going to feel like it was made specifically for you. Because today, we are going deep into the psychology of people who think too much. These are not weak people. These are not broken people. In fact, some of the most creative, empathetic, and deeply intelligent people on the planet are overthinkers. But there is a very specific set of traits that almost all of them share. And once you understand these traits, you will never look at an overthinker the same way again. Let's get into it. Most people have a voice inside their head, but for overthinkers, that voice has a voice. Psychologists call this internal rumination, and it is the core engine behind overthinking. Here's how it works. Something happens in real life. Maybe your boss gives you a slightly cold look in a meeting, or a friend replies to your text with just one word, and immediately the inner voice wakes up. What did that mean? Are they angry at me? Did I do something wrong? Should I ask them? No, that would make it weird. But what if they're really upset and I don't say anything? And just like that, one small moment has turned into a full courtroom trial inside their head. The problem is not that overthinkers are weak. The problem is that their brain is running a very powerful program, and nobody gave them the manual. Here's something most people don't realize about overthinkers. They are almost always deeply empathetic. In fact, research shows that people who overthink tend to score significantly higher on empathy scales than people who don't. What does that mean in real life? It means they walk into a room and instantly, without even trying, they can feel the energy of everyone around them. If someone is upset, the overthinker feels it before that person even says a word. If there's tension in a conversation, they notice every micro-expression, every change in tone, every slight pause. This is a gift, but it also comes with a very heavy price. Because when you feel everything this deeply, your brain has a lot more to process, a lot more to analyze, and a lot more to worry about. The empathy that makes them amazing friends is the same thing that keeps them up at 3 in the morning. Ask an overthinker to pick a restaurant for dinner. They'll spend 45 minutes reading reviews, checking the menu, comparing prices, considering your dietary preferences, and then second-guessing their final choice. This is not indecisiveness. There's a very specific psychological reason for it. Psychologists call it maximizing. A maximizer is someone who cannot accept good enough. They need the best possible option, and the only way to find it is to think through every single possibility. The overthinker's brain genuinely believes that if they think hard enough, long enough, and thoroughly enough, they will eventually find the perfect solution. The painful irony is this. Studies show that maximizers often end up less happy with their decisions than people who just pick something and move on, because by the time they decide, they're already exhausted, and they're still wondering if they got it wrong. Here's what's happening inside an overthinker's mind. At any given moment, one part of their brain is replaying the past. What did I say? Why did I say that? How could I have handled that differently? And another part is fast-forwarding into the future. What if this goes wrong? What if they say no? What if I fail? Do you notice what's missing? The present moment. While the rest of the world is here, overthinkers are everywhere except here. Neuroscientists have actually identified the part of the brain responsible for this. It's called the default mode network, and in overthinkers, it's almost always switched on. This is the part of your brain that activates when you're not focused on the outside world. It's your brain's background processor. For most people, it switches off when they get busy, but for overthinkers, even when they are busy, that background processor just keeps running. An overthinker gets a missed call from an unknown number, and within 2 minutes, their brain has already decided it's probably bad news, which means something is wrong, which means life is about to get very complicated, which means they need to prepare for the worst. It was a telemarketer. This is called catastrophizing, and it's one of the most common thought patterns in overthinkers. Here's why their brain does it. Your brain's number one job is to keep you alive, not to keep you happy, not to keep you calm, alive. So when it detects any kind of uncertainty, it immediately starts running worst-case scenarios. For most people, this alarm is quiet, but for overthinkers, the alarm is very, very loud. And the cruel thing is, the more intelligent you are, the more detailed your catastrophic scenarios become. Your brain can build an entire disaster story, complete with characters, plot twists, and a bad ending in under 30 seconds. You know that feeling when you send an important email and the moment you hit send, you immediately wonder if you should have worded it differently? For most people, that feeling lasts about 10 seconds. For overthinkers, it can last 10 days. This is called decision fatigue combined with post-decision doubt, and it's exhausting to live with. Here's the root of it. Overthinkers have very little trust in their own instincts, not because their instincts are bad, but because their analytical mind constantly overrides their gut feeling. Their brain says, yes, your gut is saying this is fine, but have you considered these 14 other scenarios? And so they keep second-guessing, keep analyzing, keep going in circles. The painful part is that their first instinct is usually correct. They just never trusted it enough to find out. And this is the one that most people miss. People assume overthinkers are anxious or neurotic or just wound too tight. But the real reason overthinkers overthink is incredibly simple. They care. They care about doing things right. They care about how their words affect other people. They care about the outcome. They care about not letting people down. You never see someone overthinking something they don't care about. Nobody lies awake worrying about a movie they didn't like, but they will lie awake going over every detail of a conversation with someone that matters to them. That's not a flaw. That's a deep and genuine investment in life. The problem is not that overthinkers care too much. The problem is that nobody ever taught them how to channel that care without burning themselves out in the process. So there you have it. 7 psychological traits that almost every overthinker shares. An overactive inner voice, deep empathy, the need for the perfect answer, living between the past and the future, catastrophizing, doubting their own decisions, and caring deeply about everything. If you saw yourself in any of these, drop a number in the comments. I want to know which one hit the hardest. And if this video made you feel a little more understood, a little less alone in your own head, give it a like. It genuinely helps more people find this content. And if you want to keep exploring the hidden psychology behind the way people think and behave, make sure you subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from. I'll see you in the next one.